In a town of Tuscumbia, Alabama, a little girl was born, and her name was Helen Adams Keller. She was born with a loving mother and father. Her father, Arthur Keller, was an officer in the Confederate Army, while her mother, Kate Keller, was a homemaker who dedicated herself to take care of little Helen. Life was looking up for Helen Keller, that is, until a tragedy changed her forever. At the age of 19 months, she was struck with an illness that caused her to lose both her sight and hearing. She became isolated, unable to understand the world around her as she grew up. Frustration grew inside the little girl, resulting in violent tantrums, unable to express her needs and desires. Despite everything, her parents were determined to help Helen and give her the same opportunities as the other children. They reached out to Perkins Institute for the Blind for help. There, they met the school director, Michael Anagnos, who introduced them to Anne Sullivan, his former student who was visually impaired herself, and who would become Helen's teacher. Helen and Anne first met at 1887 at Helen's own home. Anne brought a special gift, a doll, and taught Helen her first word by spelling D-O-L-L into her hand, but it was difficult for Helen to understand. She didn't know that every object has their own word. One day, Anne guided little Helen outside and gently asked her to hold out both her palms. Confused but curious nonetheless, Helen extended her hands and waited. Suddenly, cool flowing water poured over one hand as Helen felt the word W-A-T-E-R spelled into the other. She was fascinated, thrilled that she finally understood. She quickly demanded Anne to teach her the names of objects that she interacted with every day. From that moment on, her thirst for knowledge grew, and she flourished under the guidance of Anne Sullivan. It was the fall of 1900 when Helen Keller started her first education in Radcliffe College. People around her saw Helen as isolated, but she was deeply connected to the world around her in her own way. She felt the rhythm of the music through vibration, and bonded with animals through touch. Though delayed in learning language, she found her own voice. In 1904, at the age of 24, Helen became the first deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. Using her experience and knowledge, Helen Keller became an activist, advocating for women's rights and social equality. In the years that followed, she became an author, writing books to ensure her voice was heard. She traveled to over 40 countries, giving talks and sharing her story, often accompanied by her lifelong friend, Anne Sullivan. Her dedication and accomplishment were seen, and she was elected to the National Women's Hall of Fame. June 1, 1968, Helen Adams Keller passed away peacefully in her sleep. She was cremated, and her ashes was placed next to her beloved companion, Anne Sullivan. Though she is no longer with us, Helen Keller proved to the world that even the deaf and blind are as capable. Her legacy shall live on as long as her name continues to inspire those who read her story.